Hey, this is Brenda from the Pop-Up Homestead. We are getting ready to get our garden set up, and as we mentioned before, it's going to be a permaculture garden. So there's a few things to consider before setting up your garden. One, and most important, is location. So if you live in the Northeast where it's cold, you should make sure that your garden's in full sun all day long. If you live in the South where it gets really hot and the plants can get wilty, it's important to consider some shade for your plants because it actually benefits them. So that's one consideration. So if you look, it is just about noon, and this garden has been in full sun all morning, and it's getting ready to, as the trees come in and get their leaves, it'll be partial shade. So that's one consideration. Second thing to consider is drainage. You can see when you look at our property, it's just slightly higher and it drains down this way, and then we have a drop off. So actually drains really nice, which is great. And then the third consideration is what type of soil it is. So this tends to be more of a hard clay, but you can see if you look at the tree line, last year you can see where there's no grass and there's the grass line. So that is because last year this was all woods and we just cleared this out right up until the edge. So because of that, normally we would put down cardboard and then put organic matter on top of it, brown and green organic matter, and then start layering it up from there. But see where it starts back here by the little straw pile. And what you'll notice is that this is already beautiful soil. If you could walk on this, you'd see that it's soft and spongy and beautiful. And it actually has a lot of leaf matter already ground up from the lawnmower and small twigs. So what we're gonna do to get the permaculture garden started is we are going to leave a little walkway here all the way around the outside so that we can walk around the outside of the garden. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lay down straw and rabbit poop from our sweet little bunnies. Say hi, guys. Hi, we're growing fast. We're actually switching them over from pellets to grain. They're very much enjoyable. They like seeing us out working this space so they can hang out with us. So we're going to start by layering the ground. So if you can see, there is all the mulch. And if you look, see, this is really light and fluffy. Oh my God, this is just beautiful stuff. Light and fluffy and amazing. So we will not be tilling this. We're not going to be putting cardboard down. So we're going to put cardboard down where there's grass, which is going to be the walking path out along the edge of the garden. So right on top of these beautiful wood chips, we're going to start dropping the straw and the rabbit poop. And then on top of that, we're going to put down grass clippings, which, see, we save them from the lawnmower when we cut the grass. Let's see. The sun might be affecting things. So we just started a pile in there. And then after that, we're going to put down wood chips as a covering. So we're going to do a brown layer, a green layer, and another brown layer. And then every year, what we're going to do, instead of fertilizing this garden the traditional way, we're going to just add more animal compost, whether it be from the chickens or the rabbits. And then over time you have to add more wood chips, but as you can see over here, we have quite the stack from where the woods was cleaned out. So yeah, let me get a little bit laid down and I'll show you what the process looks like. I'll be right back. Alright, so we took some of the straw and rabbit poop. We made 2 rows, and then we started covering the rows with grass clippings. You can see this one has got the straw and rabbit poop, and the green grass clippings. What's actually really interesting over here, if you look, you see where the grass was sitting? Just the grass sitting there. I don't know if this will show up or not, but see how beautiful and moist and wonderful the soil looks underneath that grass clipping? Oh, it's great. All right, let me get some wood chips and we'll be back. Okay, just a quick recap. If you're going to be starting over lawn like this, you're going to want to put down cardboard or newspaper. You can wet it down with water if you want to. I just threw a little dirt on it so it didn't blow away. Then you're going to put any type of organic matter that you have. Pine needles, leaves, straw, broken up sticks, grass clippings. And if you could layer it with brown and green like leaves and grass, it's going to break down even faster. But even if you just do grass clippings that you collect them from all your neighbors who don't spray their yard, dump those on top of the cardboard, and then when you get wood chips or pine shavings, you're going to be able to you're going to be able to top it off, and it's all going to start to break down. Basically what you're doing is you're doing composting in place. And the beautiful part about this is that you never have to till it, you don't have to weed it, you don't water it. I think we watered ours maybe once last year and we had a drought. And that was the only reason we even watered it, and that was just to save tender seedlings that we put in. But what's nice is up from the bottom, the worms come up. And when the worms come up, they loosen up all the soil and they basically till it for you. And every year, and this is all just the first year, every year that you have a garden set up, it's going to be better. And then the next year it'll be better and better and better. And you know, when you look at, this is actually a really good example, looking at this garden, because it's half grass and half not grass, because the part that's not grass was part of the forest floor until recently. So the forest actually does it perfect. God knows exactly what he's doing. When he keeps the ground covered, if you look back there behind the garden, you can see how that's so nicely covered with a thick layer of mulch. That is amazing growing soil back there. It's soft and light and fluffy and full of nutrients, and you don't have to fertilize, and it keeps the topsoil from blowing away. In fact, you're building topsoil doing this. So let me get the wood chips and I'll show you what it's gonna look like. So Sean is just extending the 2 rows. Went and got some fresh rabbit poop, and he is bringing the rows, those 2 rows, all the way back to the rabbit hutch. And he's making the beds a little wider. This really isn't hard, guys. It's how nature intended us to grow food. It's the simple way, and we've all made it hard by tilling soil. When we get out our rototillers and we till the ground, we're ripping up the natural biome of the soil. And the only reason soil gets hard and compressed is because it's not covered. If you keep the soil covered, it stays light and fluffy. So basically, when you see ground like this and you go, oh, that's so hard and terrible, it's only because it's not covered. Once it's covered and it has organic matter on it, the worms will come up to it and it'll be light and soft and fluffy. And the nutrients, the plants thrive in it. I mean, everyone's talking about fertilizers and fertilizer shortages. This is all natural fertilizer. So if you don't have rabbits and you don't have chickens, I didn't have rabbits for a long time. We had chickens, and we would use some of their chicken poop, but you could use earthworm castings. You could just simply use grass clippings and pine shavings or pine needles or wood chips. Wood chips are ideal to put on the top.
Yeah, if you
use
chicken manure, though, this is fresh rabbit poop. This we can use right away, and we're putting some stuff with it too, so it's going to all work to break down. But chicken poop is too hot. It'll burn everything. You got to let it break down and season a little bit. So, just saying, you just don't want to go use raw chicken poop straight out of the chicken because it's too hot. it's too high in ammonia, it'll burn everything and kill everything. So you
Yep.
gotta let it season for a little while.
Yep, it just needs a little time to compost.
Right.
And what else is cool is, say you just have a little bit of like rabbit or chicken poop. If you have a friend that has a pet rabbit, say, ask them if they'll save you some of the poop, and you can just put it in a bucket of water and you can make a compost tea. So when it's in the water, then you can, say you only have grass clippings for your new permaculture garden. Then you just take the rabbit compost tea that you made, and you just pour that over your grass clippings, and that's gonna give it a little kick as well. There's lots of natural fertilizers. There's no reason we need to buy synthetic fertilizers for home gardens. Everything from earthworm castings to leaves. There's the comfrey plant. You can chop comfrey and put it in a barrel of water and give it a stir, and that'll actually make a beautiful tea that feeds the plants. There's just endless possibilities. Seeing all he's doing right now is he's adding a little bit more of the straw and poop, just making the rows a little bit wider and the walkways a little narrower. The whole thing is going to be covered in wood chips, but we're just going to concentrate the nutrients in the grow beds. Eventually it won't matter because the whole thing will be nutrient dense. Next couple of years we'll be able to just plant wherever, and there's not going to be one spot that's better than another. Okay, so we're to the wood chip layer. This is the final layer. And actually these wood chips have been sitting around for quite a while. They started to break down a little bit. They have like a little bit of a mold on them. Like you'll see like little white, white streaks on them. That's perfectly fine. That's actually great to use that because the top layer of wood chips will dry out and it'll hold moisture in underneath. So if you notice that a pile of wood chips never blows in the wind, so the wood chips stay dry on top, which when weed seeds land on the wood chips, they won't germinate because the top layer is dry. And when it rains, the wood chips will swell up and drink in the water and then slowly release it below as well. So the wood chips have multiple benefits. Benefit one, it keeps the weeds at bay. And if a weed does pop up, it's going to be so far down in the process that the weeds pull out real easy, which there's usually not very many. Second thing is the wood chips keep the ground nice and moist and help the grass and the rabbit poop and the straw break down. So it basically is putting a cap on it or covering the ground. I mean, look out into the woods. See the beautiful ground cover? I mean, that's what God did. He keeps the ground covered, and that feeds all these trees. It's an amazing thing. So I can't say enough good things about wood chips. We actually had a hard time finding wood chips when we first came to Tennessee. So, and we have plenty of trees. So we actually ended up getting a wood chipper. So just about brand new. We found it online and bought it from someone who was selling it. And yeah, it works good. I mean, these are going to be beautiful. We're eventually going to put a layer of wood chips in the walkways. And that'll keep weeds from growing in the walkways as well. Right now we just want to get these beds covered so they can start breaking down. So I like to let them sit for a couple weeks before I plant in them. But this first one I'll probably plant within a week because I have potatoes that I want to get going. So we'll be putting some potatoes in here. Frankly, it's a little too cold to plant a lot of things just yet because the last 2 nights we were below freezing. But this is the perfect time to get the garden bed ready. Now, if you're planning on doing a permaculture garden like this and you want to know the best time of year to start, the best time to start is in the fall. So you put the cardboard down, you can just go right over your lawn. Put the cardboard down, put down grass and leaves, cover it in wood chips, and then by next spring, it'll be beautifully broken down and ready to grow in. But you don't have to wait that long. I'm just saying that would be the ideal way to do it, We're going to be growing in this in the next couple weeks.
You probably already covered this, but we didn't put cardboard on this back part because it was woods, so it's already exactly what the cardboard's going to create.
I actually showed them how nice and fluffy the ground was.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. So you can see we did the straw and then the grass and now the wood chips. You can see how good it looks. It's just amazing. Good stuff. So he'll fill in around the edges, or I'll fill in around the edges, whoever. And yeah, it's fantastic. All right. Anyhow, this is Brenda from the Pop-Up Homestead, and Sean. There's Sean.
That's me.
And we are building our no-till permaculture bed. Now, if you are unfamiliar with permaculture and you want to learn what the no-till garden is all about, I highly recommend that you go to a website called Back to Eden Film. And you can watch that movie for free online, and it's called, let me give it to you one more time, it's Back to Eden Film. And basically you're going back to the Garden of Eden. So, food was plentiful in the Garden of Eden, and when Eve sinned, God said that we have to now till the soil, and that's when we started tilling the soil. So we need to get back to a more natural way of growing, and I can tell you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is the way to do it. One, we've done it a bunch of times. This is the third or fourth permaculture garden we've built, and they work fantastic every time. So we're definitely not done here. We're going to have to cover the whole thing in wood chips, and we'll need more grass clippings and more rabbit poop, and we'll just keep making rows and making our way until the whole garden is filled. All right, if you like this information, let me know what you thought about it below in the comments. Feel free and like the video and share it with anyone you think it'll help. We're coming into a time where it might be real advantageous to grow food, and all we're using is stuff around our yard. So I highly recommend growing a garden, and this is the cheap and easy way to do it. So Sean's over there getting more wood chips, and I'm going to sign out. Bye, my seedy friends.